SRBMedia.
Good evening, Gabby.
Good evening, TC, and welcome all to part 10, episode 10 of our weekly podcast, The Curran View, with the idol of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. How's things, mate?
Yes, it's nice to hear from you again. I hope you've enjoyed your holiday.
Yeah, it was decent. Nice and warm, but it was nice and warm here in England as well. It's not so nice and warm today now. It's awful. It's raining. A week is a long time in football.
Yes, and obviously there's a couple of bad things been happening with Bury and Bolton.
Yep.
Let's hope that there can be. Well, Bolton's been sorted, it sounds of it. Let's hope the Bury one can be turned around and that somebody's going to save them and keep them going.
We're going to start on our usual The Numbers Up. It is episode 10. Who's your favourite number 10?
Well, it's got to be Alan Hudson, closely followed by Rivelino, but Hudson is my favourite number 10.
How good was Rivelino? Because I was a little bit too young, excuse me, for the 1970 World Cup finals. But I remember Rivelino doing something at Wembley, and he'd roll his studs over the ball and then bring it back again. And I remember as a kid looking at that and being absolutely mesmerised by Rivelino.
What a player. But when you look at the Brazilians, haven't they produced some absolutely world-class players? Yeah. I mean, at the same time as Pele, he played with Pele did Rivelino. But the little Garrincha for Brazil, what a great little player. They produced that many great players. It's been untrue. But Rivelino was a player what could do could make the ball talk. His free kicks. When you look at his free kicks in those days with the balls, what he was producing. I mean, the great free kicks now what our modern day players are scoring with, but the ball is lighter and it does swerve, but in those days it was more heavier. So what a player he was.
And Diego Maradona references him as one of his greatest players.
That's right. Maradona was a really big fan of Rivelino. Rivelino, yeah, you're right. And I think he modelled himself a little bit on him, but obviously, I mean, he was a world-class player, but he took it on to another level, did Maradona. I mean, when you talk about number 10s, he's another one. Messi, the great players, but I have to go with the English one because he was one I saw as a kid growing up, Alan Hudson. So it always stuck in my mind, and he's one of those players what we never use right, same as Stan Bowles and the Worthingtons of this world. For some unknown reason, our coaches were more pragmatic. They wanted what they thought reliable players, not players what can win matches. When you look at the Europeans and the rest of the world, they want players what can unlock a door and unlock defences. But we've never wanted to go down that line, barring Brian Clough.
And Huddy would unlock a defence with a killer pass, wouldn't he? Not the greatest of goal scorers, and Al would say that himself, but that wasn't what Hudson was about. Hudson was about starting the play. He'd pass, he'd move, he'd put that killer pass through to whether it be Jimmy Greenough or Peter Osgood, and he could orchestrate the team from the pitch, couldn't he?
Well, your game starts on midfield. Yeah. The thing about people like Hudson and all great players is the first touch. Yeah. You know the ball's going to stick. You know he's not going to lose the ball. You know when he passes it, it's going to be a pass. What's going to be a meaningful pass? It's going to go to the area where he's practically putting it. When players like him, and I'm not just him, there's plenty of players like Hudson, but what I'm trying to say is, as a kid, me watching them type of players, they would thread a ball through and put 3-4 people, players out of the game, of the opposition. So we've missed out on that. for years and years and years. Yes, Gerrard and Lampard's been great players, but they are what you call box to box players.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, I mean you got Lampard, unbelievable amount of goals he scored for a midfield player. But I think Hudson reminded me myself a little bit. I mean, I could have scored a lot more goals than what I did do in my career. But Hudson would sooner lay a ball off like for somebody else to score, and accept the it was his goal, because that's what I used to do. So I would imagine if someone had said to him, "We need you to start shooting more and want more goals from you," I would imagine he would have done it. But he finished up like I did, having to move because he'd lost the best player manager he had. I should say, not the best player, but the best manager he had was Tony Waddington. And it was same like me with Brian Clough. I could get away with murder. You could ask anyone at Nottingham Forest, Robbo, Martin O'Neill. I'd get away with murder compared to other players. Because Clough used to say to me, "I'm going to play you through the middle one day." I said, "I used to play through the middle when I was a kid. It's only that Maurice Setters put me out on wing because I was quick." But great players like Hudson, we have just disregarded for some unknown reason. If I say it's jealousy, people say, "Well, why would somebody be jealous?" But there's nothing. There's no other word I can think of, because what these managers did were play players what they thought were reliable. When you look at Thomas, what played for Crystal Palace, I know he's a pool of that at the moment in time. But when you see him getting one England cap and Alan Hudson getting 2 caps, well, Charlie George even got. But he got 1 cap, 6-7 minutes. Why have we done this in this country? I'd like to know the real reason for it, because Hudson were brave, never missed matches. 9 out of 10, nearly every game, them players. But when the team got beat, I would imagine he'd be the one what got the blame for it. And when you look at it, I'm not one for game wanting managers sack, but the sword starts with them. They pick the team. And if they don't get the team right, if they don't get the balance right, if the philosophy is not right for the players, then it's their fault. Now, when the team successful, I'm one for saying it's the manager what's done it, because it's the manager what's put the great players together and got a great team together to win things. That's why I love people like Brian Clough and I love Guardiola, and I'm fascinated with Bielsa. Managers like that, what are willing to play attractive football, are brave managers. When you look at the managers we've had over the years, have they been brave?
No.
Anybody can organise and stop people playing. And when you look at the ones what we've had over the years, well, if I'd have been an owner, they wouldn't have got near the club. But everyone's different, aren't they?
Now, while we're talking of national call-ups, it will, at the end of, I think, is it the end of this month? England, or certainly it may even be the end of this week, Gareth Southgate's got to call up the next group of players to take on Bulgaria. Who would you identify as players that will get called up that haven't been called up, or how would you line up the England team against Bulgaria, and what system would you play?
Well, I would always play a 4-3-3.
Yeah,
I would always play a 4-3-3 with my front three. It'd be lightning quick, and when I say lightning quick, they've got to be able to understand the game, read the game, and have a great touch. What players, what's got a chance of getting called up? Obviously, the main one what's sticking out at the moment in time is Grealish.
Yeah.
Hudson-Odoi now is just coming back from his injury. I don't think he's going to get called up on this one, because obviously with a bad injury, his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
We've missed out on 1 or 2 of the players what's been injured. So I don't think there'll be many 2 changes, but I'd like to see Grealish in there and have a look at him, because when you look at him, he's so composed on the ball.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if he doesn't become a Guardiola player.
Yeah.
I will be very surprised, because I made a statement on my wall last week that this kid will be the next David Silva.
Yes.
Well, he's still only 20, 21, isn't he? So, I can remember all these expert pundits kept saying that David Silva, no good. He hasn't produced it in our league. And then Guardiola comes in and is the best thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
Give him another year on his back, maybe 2 years on his back, and he'll be on the same par as a David Silva. It's so composed, and he sees that path.
Yeah.
When you look at players, he's a player what's not going to get flustered on the ball. The Hudsons of this world, stand balls, like I said, they've never been picked. These players, Grealish now is in with a good bunch of young quality midfield players that we have got. But without doubt, he'd be in my squad, and now I'd be looking at him, put him in. Let's have a good look at him, because he's one of them what can unlock a door and with a pass, and he can unlock a door by just drifting by people with it. With one of his mazy runs. So he's one of I definitely wanted to be put in an Amalocton.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Butland up at Stoke. What's been in and around the squad? I think at the moment in time he's struggling at Stoke, and he's making some right wickets. So he's going to struggle, I think, in this next one. But I think he'll stick with practically what he's got, and he just might add one or two. But I'm hoping Grealish is among that. I'm not hoping, he should be among it, and he will be among it.
100% agree. I'd have James Maddison in there as well.
Yeah, but we have got lots.
Yeah.
We have got lots of quality midfield. Mm-hmm. The problem with now is you can never have too many.
Yeah.
But some of them they're going to miss out on it.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're bad players. It's because we have got some quality midfield players now, Gabby. Yeah. For the first time since the Hudsons of this world and your Currys and your Bowles, it's the first time we've got a good quality bunch of it.
The future is definitely looking good for England, and I would agree with you. I'd play 4-3-3. My front three would be Sancho, Sterling, and Harry Kane, and then I play midfield. I play Maddison. I play Mason Mount and Jack Grealish, and I blood the young kids. I'll put them in because I think they're good enough. And I think with Jack, he's the one standout player for me. Wholeheartedly agree with you. He will take possession of the ball in all areas of the football pitch, deep midfield, round the penalty area. He'll use it. He's got a great football brain, got great feet, he's got everything. I think for me, he's the most complete football player that we've got in the Premier League that's English. That's my opinion.
Without doubt, there is no one more composed in any part of the field than Jack Grealish. No one. But he doesn't have to worry about getting picked with him being young, because Southgate has not been frightened to do it.
Yeah.
Not been frightened to do it. The biggest problem for Southgate is, like you say, Maddison. He's got Barkley, he's got Grealish. He's got stacks of midfield players. What's coming through and what's already been in the squad, what hasn't looked too bad at all. I know you like Kane, and I know Kane scores goals, but I'd sooner have Rashford up there, because when I look at it, when you got Sterling, Rashford, and Hudson-Odoi, Sancho, these are players.
Pace.
What's got pace? But the touch, when you look at great players, Gabby, when you look at the great players, the first touch it's sublime. It sticks, So they don't break stride. It doesn't run away. The second ball is not a challenge for them.
Yep.
They can either pass from the control, or they can get a shot off after they've controlled it, or they can go and do whatever they want to do with it. They're not having to fight for it once they're trying to control it, like some players. And that's the difference with these type of players now.
Now, while I was away, I did notice on your wall about this Barcelona wonder kid. So tell me a bit more about him, because I didn't see him, but I saw that you was quite elated by this young 16-year-old boy's performance.
Anyone, Gabby?
Yeah.
Just think about this. A 16-year-old kid coming on for Barcelona.
Yeah.
Look at the players at Barcelona, and they're not frightened to play a boy at 16.
Yeah.
At 16. And he looked like a man when he came on. When I say looked like a man, I mean a man what had got all the confidence in the world with the football. Yeah. His movement, his passing, his confidence, everything about him looked as though he got that arrogance. And what I mean by arrogance, there's a difference between a big head and wanting to be aloof from everybody. He's got that arrogance, but he wants to share with everybody. Look at me. This is what I'm going to do. This kid is going to be the next Messi, without doubt. What a player this kid looks. And I mean, what a player.
I think at times you're right. People mistake arrogance from being really, really confident. And I think if you are a proper top player, you must ooze uber confidence, which sometimes people would misconstrue it and perceive it to be arrogance. I don't think it's arrogance. I just think it's supreme confidence.
It is, and I mean, there is the odd player. I mean, I've seen it myself and been in and around it. When somebody you think, well, hang on a bit, come down. Everybody's saying, don't try to belittle certain players.
Yeah.
But having that arrogance to show to the world, in the fans, your fans, who your team you're playing for, and you think, look, I'm on this stage and I'm not going to let you down. And that's what I mean by arrogance. He's saying to the fans, he's saying to the public, he's saying to the rest of the world, I'm here. Have a look at me, but I want you to see how good I am. And that's what I mean by him. He's got that all-round package to be one of the great players in the world. And this kid, can he play?
And also with that supreme confidence, you do things that other players wouldn't even think about. Even going round a goalkeeper, putting the ball on the goal line, getting on your knees and heading the ball in. Young Terry Curran once done that, didn't he, against Derby?
I've done that, and the other week, just before Hazard had gone to Real Madrid. I was watching a clip on television. There was a training session, and Hazard did it, and I had to laugh. Because I did it against one of my old clubs, Derby County.
Yeah.
Went round the goalkeeper, stopped the ball on the line, got on my knees, and I did. I always said I was going to do it. Anyway, I did it, but I can remember Big Jack running down the touchline. You do that again, and I'll kick your head off. But you see, in our day, I used to do things in training, and some players would say to me, "Will you show me how to do that?" Yeah. But the manager didn't like it. They used to say, "You're not in a circus." They just want to a player what they think they could rely on, up and down. And football, if you're going to be an up and down player, if you're going to hit balls over the top, quality players will just drop off. Yeah. They will read the game all day long. You've got to make the opposition think, what's this player or what's this team going to do next? And until we get into that category like the rest of the world are playing football, then we will always struggle to win major trophies. I mean, people say, well, we're a small island. Well, of course we're a small island. But look at Croatia's in the final. Yeah. They're twice smaller than what we are, but they've got quality people on the ball. We are getting that. I must admit, we are getting that now. All I want to see Southgate do with this team, what he's got, this national team now, is play with a bit of an higher tempo. It's okay, but it needs to go up another level where the movement is quick, fast moving, interchanging, off the ball, running, making runs. Maybe the ball doesn't go, but the play keeps making that same run. Even if he doesn't get it, we've got to just get that tempo up a little bit higher. And I don't think we're going to be too far away if we can do that, or if we can get him to do that.
Now, going back to the Derby game, what was your thought process going into the game and doing the podcast with you regularly? I've got an idea and an opinion of what makes you tick and what doesn't. You playing against one of your old clubs, you really aren't that bothered. It didn't matter to you who you played against. Mm-hmm. You wanted to just entertain that crowd. Now, a few games earlier, you went round the goalkeeper at Chester and whacked the ball in pretty much on the goal line. Was it one of those that you thought, right, I've done that, I'm going to take it to the next level? And there was always a little bit of you pushing that boundary of Jack's temper to almost the extreme, like an elastic band. I suppose what I'm trying to say, if Jack Charlton says to you, like you'd say to one of your kids, don't do that again, you do it, and you do it twice.
I wouldn't be afraid not to do it. I will say that. But when I wasn't afraid to do it. But the lads knew I wasn't a big head, because all I used to do, I'd go in and have a laugh with them, and they said to me, "You've got the bollocks." Sorry for swearing, but you've got the balls. You've got the balls to do that, haven't you? I wouldn't dare do that, you know. But I used to do it and laugh about it and laugh with it and try and have a laugh with it. I mean, some of the players did take it the wrong way, because nobody likes to be nutmeg. Nobody likes to be taking the mickey out on a football field. But I didn't do it to belittle people. I did it for a laugh. And that game against Chester, I was tempted. Shall I do the same again and get stop the ball on the line and get on my hands and knees? I thought, well, I better not do that. I'll try something else. But I did go round the keeper and I stopped the ball on the line, and then I just booted it into the net hard. The number 4, Trevor Staunton, who's passed away now, great lad was Trevor. He used to come to my house and he said to me, "You were so arrogant when you do things, you know." But it weren't. I didn't do it for to upset people. I did it to show people the games. I want to win, Gabby. Make no mistake. There's nothing worse than a Saturday night or a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night when you've got beat, because I know the fans get disappointed, but you believe me, players are so down, and even people like me think, But I always used to say to myself, an hour afterwards, I said, right, next game, let's get it right. And so you just want to win. But I wanted to win, but I wanted to win. I want to win with style. Yes. I'll never forget Cloughie saying to Rebbe when he said to Don Rebbe in the interview on Calendar, our Yorkshire local TV, and he said to me, I wanted to do it better than you. And Rebbe said to him, well, you can't do it better than me. He said, well, why can't I? He said, well, I only lost 4 matches. Well, I could only lose 3, but I want to do it with style, Don. And that's when I want to win. I wanted to win with style. I wanted to win with, the people had gone away and enjoying the game. But I mean, I can remember when I ended my career going to Huddersfield. I was at Huddersfield, and Mick Buxton, what manager of the team, and Jimmy Robinson was our coach, an ex-Burnley player, and they said to us, I want you to do a trick and try and score a goal. And I can remember running with the ball and rolling it up back of my head, back of my legs, I should say. It came over my head, and I volleyed it into net, and all lads just stopped and started clapping. There weren't no videos and YouTubes about in my day. I will never forget that one, as long as I live. But it was in training. But you see players now put clips on of goals in training, but when you did certain things, the problem with our coaches, they looked at it and they went, wow, and then they said, I don't want you trying things like that in football matches, because if you lost it and they went up the other field and they scored, they go ballistic, But all goals are from mistakes. When you analyse any goal, it's from a mistake, whoever it is, whether it's a goalkeeper or whether it's Alan Shearer or whether it's Messi. They will make a mistake somewhere along the line, a player, and it can cost the team a goal. But we seem to come heavy down on it, our type of coaches.
And while we've been talking about Derby, Forest played Derby last night, a 3-0 win for Forest. Forest looks as though they're on fire at the moment. 2 of your old clubs, I'm amazed that game, A, wasn't a live TV game, and then B, amazed that you wouldn't have been the special guest for appearing for both teams so magnificently. Well, I do get offers to go down to the game, but I can't always get. But I watched Forest play with one of my other old teams, Sheffield Wednesday, last year when Bruce was manager of Wednesday and Martin, and obviously Martin was a mate of mine from Forest, and I watched them play, and both teams were poor. And the ball was long, and it was a drab game. But this guy seemed to have got Forest playing good, attractive, and expansive football. So that's a great result. That's a great result for Forest last night against one of their arch rival, Derby County. And regardless of what anyone says,
about, it's a cup game, we're not bothered about that. You can always win your next game.
Yeah.
And that game they won. Next time they play Derby County, they'll be fearful of how Forest played and the result, the 3-0 result, because that's a bit of a tanking 3-0. The Derby would have liked that. The fans wouldn't have liked that. So Forest was obviously, it was a great result for them last night, but they are playing well at this moment in time, is Forest.
And again, we've seen so many wholesale changes. You know, I get the game of football these days where you're playing a lot of games and there's cup competitions now, they're into leagues, and I'm talking more Europe. And because of that you're almost playing two leagues. I mean, you've got 38 games in the Premier League, and to win the Champions League, I don't know, you're probably playing about 22, aren't you? Now, it's quite ridiculous. So I do get the fact that they need extra players, but I'm talking now, teams in the Championship and even like some in League One are making ridiculous amounts of changes for a League Cup game. It's getting ridiculous.
Here's a prime example. First and foremost, why would Neil Warnock say he's retiring? He's going to lose some of those players by saying he's retiring. Right? On top of that, then he picks a depleted squad to play Luton. Right? So now that they're now in a rut, they've already in a rut when they came down.
Yeah.
They've lost the last two matches. And you look at it, you think you should always win your next match.
Yeah.
If you looked at Villa last night, they played a strong squad.
Yeah.
They played a strong squad. You know, you've got to start to win your next match. When you look at Manchester City, they've got two teams. They can go for every trophy what's out there. Yeah. And they try and go for every trophy. Right? Man United at this moment in time, Arsenal and Chelsea can't afford to pick and choose what they're going to go for. Or we've got to get in the Champions League. They've got to try and win trophies. And you should always try and win your next match. Because you don't have the players for it, like a Manchester City have. You know, playing a weakened team against, an half-decent opposition, it can backfire on you.
Yep.
The result you don't get right, and then you come out for the next game, and if you go one behind, the fans on your back. You know, if your weaker players can't handle it, and your big characters are left to try and sort it out themselves, it doesn't work for you half at time, Gabby. So I haven't got a clue why they do it. I can only think that the Guardiolas of this world and the Mourinhos of this world, that we've got 40 players to pick from. That baffles me. It really baffles me. Listen, I don't like to see anybody get sacked, but when they get sacked, I look at it and say, it's your own fault. Because if I was a manager, I would try and win the next match. No, you can't win every match. You cannot win every match. But I would try and win my next match, whether it was a League Cup game, a Carabao Cup game, or an FA Cup game, or the league. I would try and win that next match, because that's the most important. Because if once you start to get into a rut, Huddersfield Town's proved it. You know, the guy who just got sacked, the Stewart, won one game in 19, chopping and changing, and this doesn't matter. Football matters. It matters to fans. They're the ones what's going to get on players' backs. Certain players can't handle the pressure when the fans start them on. I've seen it. I've been in dressing rooms, Gabby.
Yeah.
It does not work. Some players can't handle it. So you've got to try and win your next match. And to play a depleted team, they deserve all they get, some of these managers.
And lots of them treat it as a reserve cup. There's no reserve league now. It's under 23, and I've noticed in the other competition for the third and fourth division teams, you got the likes of Everton and Arsenal and one or two others that are putting an under 23 team in there. For me, a big problem is not having the reserve league. It stifles the growth, it stifles the experience of the younger players. And when you do make 10 or 11, to be fair, Villa made 10 changes, but it paid off for them. But when you do make so many changes, you've got no cohesion and no pattern of play, because these players are almost all alien to each other, aren't they?
Well, when you were a young kid or a young lad at 23, 20, 22, 23, 21, trying to get, trying to make your way into first team football, especially nowadays, if you were playing against a player that's played 300, 400, 500 games, you're playing with that type of player or against that, you're going to learn from him.
Yes.
So when you're playing against under 23s, when you play every week for the under 23s, you're playing the same type of player, but it's not as physical and as quick as a first team game is. Because you're playing for 3 points. You're playing for us. What's important? You're playing in front of 70,000 fans. So there's more meaning in it. So playing a 23 team instead of experienced players, you're never going to get young lads are never going to get the benefit of learning from the senior players what's been there, done it, and wore the t-shirt. It doesn't help them. And the quicker they fetch the reserve team game back, I think you'll find that players will improve a lot quicker and a lot better.
Wholeheartedly agree. I remember talking to Brian Little, and as a young player, he thought, "I'm ready here. I'm playing for Aston Villa's reserves, and I'm have a couple of games there. I'll be in the first team, and I'm ready." And he played against Paddy Crelland, and he said, playing against him made me realise how much more I needed to improve. Because as you say, when you're playing against someone like Paddy Crelland that's come back from injury or just put in that reserve team to get that little bit of match fitness, sharpness, kids can learn so much playing against them players. It's beyond belief.
Can you imagine a young Brian Little having to play against Paddy Crelland, what he's probably just watched, win a European Cup, and all the trophies that Man United won over the years, to be able to play against him and think, and if I did well against him, what's people going to make of me? You can't buy that, Gabby. You cannot buy it. And why? You see, Bill Shankly made a great comment about the FA. The FA know everything about the rules, but they know nothing about football. And for them to do away with the reserve team games is another bad judgment, whether it's the clubs or the FA. But it's a bad judgment of whoever's decided to do that.
And while we're talking about players and the players' development, let's get on to young Jock Curran watch. How did he get on the weekend, and where's Jock's development at this present moment in time?
Well, he didn't play this weekend, but he came on as a sub in the last 10 minutes. They finally won the first game. But I will not be behind the bush, Gabby. The football I watched when I watched that, in the 4 games I've seen them play, I haven't seen them put 2 passes together in the 4 games I've watched. But it's an experience he's going to learn from. All different types of football that will play in that type of league. Will he benefit from it? It'll make him a strong player, and he'll look back at it if he comes through all this and he goes on to be successful. He'll look back at this and think, well, that was an experience. So it was a great result for him. But again, I mean, I thought they should have lost it. In my opinion, the Spalding had 3 great chances to score, but it's a result. And when you're not playing well, to get any result, is a big thing. So it doesn't make a difference how you play as long as you get the result. But it'll be an experience for him. He's got the ability, Gabby. He just needs to fill out. And I don't say that half-heartedly, because I'd tell him if I didn't think he were good enough, I won't be taking him up and down the motorways, going all over to watch him play football, because I want to watch teams play natural football. I want to enjoy the game and clap both the teams off. But the 4 games I've seen them, they haven't put 4 passes together. Either teams, you know what I mean? It's just over me head, over his head, over me head. So but it's an experience for him, and I'm hoping he'll benefit from it.
And talking about benefiting and results, you benefited from our last week's forecast. You went 2-1 up. You predicted Birmingham to get beat at Swansea, a team that you've referenced again on your wall that you like the way that Swansea play. Birmingham, I thought, were absolutely awful. It wasn't a great day at the office as well for your club Wednesday. So both the Owls and the Blues went down 2-1 and 3-0 respectively. But what was did you watch Birmingham City's live game? And what was your take on? I'm hearing so many fans of Birmingham saying, "Oh, we're back to playing this tippy-tappy play that Zola used to introduce at Birmingham." I'm not seeing any play at Birmingham City. I'm seeing a centre-half launch the ball up to Djukovic. I'd quite like to see a bit of tippy-tappy football with a bit of purpose and a bit of energy and moving that ball quickly through midfield. What's your take, Tel?
You see what's happened, Gabby, over the years within England. They've been brought up with the Dave Moyes and Jack Charles and all these managers and the Sam Allardyce and going, get it in the road's head, don't take chances. Mm-hmm. Now, players shouldn't be taking chances for sake of taking chances. But if you get players in there, what's like Jack Grealish,
yeah.
What's composed on the ball, right? You can play football anywhere, right? There's no such thing as tippy-tappy football. It's keeping football with a pace. I don't want to see it slow. I thought Swansea played exceptionally well, but I'm neutral to pair of them. But I thought Swansea played quite well. I thought Birmingham were a bit more on the cautious side because I know what managers do. Mm-hmm. We're playing away from home. We've had a couple of good results, so we'll sit back and then we'll try and hit them on counter-attack. But Swansea played exceptionally well, and Birmingham didn't get much of the ball. If did you watch the game?
Yeah. I thought it was awful. To be fair.
They didn't get much of the ball, but when they got it, they made a mess of it at times. So they were outplayed by by Swansea. But going back to Swansea, like I said to you last week when you were on about players, it's never bothered me whether anybody's played the football.
Yeah.
What bothers me? Can the coach? Can they improve players? And can they improve the team?
Yeah.
Well, when I watched this Cooper, when he was working up at Liverpool, when Sky first come out, well, not when he first come out, I had Sky a bit like, but for some unknown reason, we used to get Liverpool TV free.
Okay.
I think we had it for a year and a half. For some unknown reason, I had it anyway.
Yeah.
And I used to watch the U team play, and he used to speak quite well, but his team played good football, but obviously at Liverpool, they're going to want their team to play football.
Yeah.
So he'd never played at an high level. But I wrote before the season start, a dark horse to watch would be Swansea in the Championship.
Yeah.
It's early days. They might finish a game relegated. For all we know, there's only 4 games gone so far. But looking at him, I've not been far wrong with it because they play some great football. And like I said, he's never played at the high level. It's been at Wrexham when they weren't in league, Bangor, Rill, them type of clubs at Wales, down in Wales, but he's wanting his team to play attractive, quick, attacking football, and he's had good results. So I think this kid can do well. And in the Championship one, the other one I put as a dark horse was Swindon, and they've done all right. Yeah. So Birmingham, like my team, had a nightmare on Saturday, and it weren't the best football, and because you want to see them win. At all costs, you want to see them win. Mm-hmm. So when they get beat, you look at it. Well, they've had a bit of a nightmare. But if you see them, if they get beat and they've been beat by a 1-0 and it's been a good match, you don't mind. So both of us were disappointed this weekend.
Magic moment of the weekend. For me, it was a former Birmingham player. I was quite gutted that they sold him to Aston Villa. It was Jota. I like players like Jota. I like players that can pass the ball and are artists. And his ball through to Wesley, who was taking stick. I don't like players taking stick. The ball come out and then he's put weights on the right-hand side of the 18-yard box across the goalkeeper like a great central striker and got his account up and running for Villa, and I thought, you know what, well done. Although Blues fans hate you for saying it, I have to be absolutely truthful and honest when I watch football and my assessment of football.
I thought Aston Villa did quite well against Everton, but at the same time they've got to be a bit more careful when they haven't got the ball, because Evan did cause them a few problems and could have scored a few goals. Jota's going to get a bit of stick if it doesn't go right from, because obviously come from the neighbours, Birmingham. So, but I thought Aston Villa played really, really well. But for me, I've got three, and I've got to say all three. The one's my old club, Notts Forest. 15 passes and quality passes, with a great ball in. For Gabardon to just score an open goal. But they had 15 passes on that. The other one is Newcastle against Tottenham. I mean, because I'm looking at Benitez and what he did up at Newcastle. If he's a top coach, then why don't he coach players and say, right, we don't have the money, but I'm going to coach this team and I'm going to make them better, instead of moaning and groaning. Like Newcastle, their goal against Tottenham, you can look at it and say, oh, well, Tottenham were asleep. But for Newcastle to have that confidence to keep the ball and good quality passing and then finish off with a great goal. So those two were fabulous. But the one I love more than anything was when the boy at Leicester, ex-Sheffield Wednesday lad, come on, Gabby, put his name into Vardy, scored his goal and he went to United and just put his ears up. That topped it all for me.
But again, you see, I have this problem with fans when they give. Birmingham City used to give a bungler horse so much stick and sing not a very nice song about his mother, and I used to say, just shut up, because when you wind that player up, that player is going to throw it down you. And then when he scores a goal and he cups his ears, the fans are going, Barmy, I want him arrested for inciting a riot. He's took 90 minutes of abuse and he scores a goal, and then you want to get him arrested. I thought that from Vardy was brilliant. I love players when they do that to fans.
You always said to me, what's it like to play against? I've never thought, and I never think about it when I'm playing against my old teams. Never, ever. But now then, when you talk about the fans, when they're giving you stick, and they're going about stick, Gabby, there's nobody got more sticky football than me. But when I scored against that team, and that fans, I used to just run up to them and go on my hands and knees. Or I'd cock my ears. Or I'd just smile, put my hands out and smile at him and say, what were you saying? But now that does excite me. And when they start giving you stick, 9 times out of 10, that player who they want to give stick to, who they fear, because that's what it is. The fans are favouring him, always seem to score or make a goal and throw it back down the fans' throat. And then they want to say, right, we want him sent off, we want him locked up, he scores the riot. It's banter, and as long as it doesn't get out of hand, it's brilliant for both, for the fans to have a go and for the players to show the appreciation when they do score a goal to the home fans. But just to have a little bit of banter, and hope it's a bit of banter that the fans take it the right way, or the opposition fans.
Huddy wrote something, I think probably about 1970-71. The more the crowd dislike me, the better I play. And that is every professional football player that's played the game, and even amateur, no matter what level you play, if you are taking stick like that, it spurs you on. So it works in reverse. I always laugh when fans are giving it players, because I'm thinking, any minute now, pal. Any minute now,
You're right. They can be out at game for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe for half an hour. And all of a sudden, boom, something happens, and they give it, they ram it down the opposition fans, and they score a goal or they make a goal. So the better not to get onto that type of player, because it spurs them on, it lifts them, it energizes them, it makes them want to do things, it makes them want to quiet the opposition fans. So the opposition fans would be better off not saying out about that player who they fear.
And then as a player, when you've scored a goal, you might be dead on your legs. You might have been running around and you feel as though you couldn't do another step. You score that goal, you feel as though you could run around the world twice, don't you? A goal must be the most energising thing that anybody is given on this planet.
Well, I'll never forget. The goalkeepers are the slowest people in a football club. The goal Weaver, when he scored, But when he saved that penalty kick for Manchester City against Gillingham, I think it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
The players couldn't catch him. You know, so it's the same thing when you score a goal. Even the slowest player, I guarantee you, for some unknown reason, they seem to get some energy and quickness from somewhere. You watch him, even you think he's a slow player, him, and when he scores a goal, when the other players try and catch him, he seems to be able to kick on another level. It's unreal, that, you know.
Yeah. Now, Bury and Bolton, it looks as though tonight Bolton have been saved. I don't know what's going on with Bury. This chancer seems to have bought them for £1. And I'm always weary when people buy football clubs for £1, because I think that you're certainly going to be taking on a little bit of debt that's occurred over the years. And certainly going forward, you've got to pay the wages of the football players and be able to play them going on for the next period of time that you're going to be at that football club. So we don't know what's gone on at Bury, but I do think that geezer is a shyster, is a chancer, and you've got to really feel for Bury. However, Bolton looks as though there is a silver lining behind that grey cloud, and at this present moment that we talk, they've been saved and they've been bought by Football Ventures.
Well, that's great to hear that of Bolton. I didn't think that would ever fall by the wayside.
Yeah,
and that would, you know, it's like a top player. If he gets himself in trouble, they do all they can to protect him, like a Cantona of this world.
Yeah.
If it's a nobody of a player, and that's a bad word to use, but my English is not the best English. But, you know, if it's a player what they're not really bothered out, they can't get much money for, they'll let him fall by the wayside and fail. Now, when you look at Bury, it's not a big club, but it's been there for years and years and years. So they might look at it. We'll let them go, and we'll might stop other clubs doing what Bury's done. I don't agree that Man United and Manchester City or the Premier League should bail them out for one reason and one reason only. Bury was seven. This is what I've been told. There was £7 million in debt, and the person what's bought it, this Steve Day or whatever his name is or whatever he does, he's got other parent companies, and he's got one of those companies to buy it for £70,000, right? And just like the ones what they did at Leeds, the people who went into Comic when Comic was bankrupt, they go in and the asset strip it. And what I was told that they could get £1.5 million out of it and then sell it on. And if I'm honest, we can't prove it. Allegedly, that's what I'm thinking that they've tried to do it to make a quick buck. You know, because when you've heard him speak about Bury, he's not interested in Bury.
No,
I'm not. I can walk away from Bury. Well, it's not only the football, it's not only the players. That club's been going for years. It's a community. Now, even if they only get 2,000 people, Gabby, that 2,000 people helps the economy in Bury. People coming in and buying beer, coming in and spending money in that town. That little town can't afford to lose even that type of revenue what's coming into it. What's fair about people what's worked at that football club to get paid a pittance because it's their local team, it's their community team, and they help out, they'll do anything, right? But they still need a bit of expenses to go down there and help out at the football club, and they're not getting paid, and they lose their jobs. It's a disgrace what he's done, and it's a disgrace when the football league, right, do not look really deep into these matters, because you and I know we can never prove it. Why do these people come in to the game? They come in it to make money.
Correct.
You can all turn around and say players are greedy with wages. It's only the elite players. Do you think Bournemouth players are on £50,000 a week? Bournemouth players, not a cat in hell's chance. They might be on 30. Right. Well, your Rooney's are on £200,000, but there's a lot more generated into that by sponsors and everything else. The Bournemouth of this world are never going to earn that kind of money and players. Somebody said to me, Beckford, when he was when he was playing at Bury, he was on £8,000 a week. I said, who do you think you're trying to kid Father Christmas? You know, it might be on about £800 and £900 a week at that level. They're living in a dream world. But these owners, when they come and take these football clubs in, they've got a budget. They should state from day one, this is the budget, set to the manager, That's what we've got. Work and improve the players and try and get players in what are better than what we got. And then say to the fans, look, this is our budget. This is all what we've got. But, you know, we're going to try and guarantee that we're in the league season in, season out. But we can't spend money on players like, say, like a Plymouth or a Bradford or whatever that will, because they're the bigger clubs at that level.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all the fans at Newcastle going ballistic about Ashley. Whether he's right or whether he's wrong, he's got a budget. And because what anybody says to me, Newcastle cannot compete with Manchester City and the Real Madrids of Barcelona of this world, spending £200 million on players. You're going to say, well, you don't have to spend that. They can't compete, and that club were in a mess when he took it over. Now, is it the best footballing team? No. Does he need to put a little bit more in it to buy a bit better quality players? I'll agree with that. But once you start to go over budget, that's what's going to happen. Like he's at Bury and at Bolton. I don't think the budget at Bury is a problem. I think the budget at Bolton is a problem. But I want all football fans to understand this. Don't think that these owners put money into your football clubs. Because I'll promise you one thing. By them putting money into that football club, this is how it works. They can earn more money by putting their money into that football club than they can do in a bank.
Yeah.
So they'll put some money in, but they are taking money out week in, week out to get that money back.
Yeah.
And that's why they put it in. And there's other reasons for it. You know, I don't want to go into that detail because you can't prove anything.
Yeah.
But there's lots of things what happens in a football club, and don't think that these owners are putting money into it. You know, they're going to save my club. They're going to do this. He's going to do that. The managers, getting the right manager will bring them success, because the manager will have a right philosophy for the players. I mean, people said that the guy was at Portsmouth. I could nearly said his name off my head then. He went to Sheffield Wednesday. Harry Redknapp had him as his Portsmouth. Come on, what's his name?
Went to Sheffield Wednesday. Harry. It was Harry and it was Jim, wasn't it? Jim Smith was.
No. Harry Redknapp was the manager. The owner of the Portsmouth football club.
Milan Mandaric.
And they all said he'd come and save Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he's done great for Sheffield Wednesday. What Milan Mandaric did will make a lot of money when he sold Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a big club. Them type of clubs will never fall by the wayside, Gabby. They will never fall by the wayside. It's the British they're not bothered about. Bolton, you know. So people said, yes, he did well, but did he make a lot of money out of Sheffield Wednesday, selling it to the new owners?
Mandaric had a franchise in the old NASL. I think that's how him and Harry come into contact, because he's always been in and around football clubs. But like you say, he's not been one of them that's put his own money. He's bought football clubs and used the football's finance to move money around. And these people generally speaking don't lose money. They buy a football club for a damn good reason, to try and earn a profit from it. Now, the loan system in this country, I think it's absolutely broken. I think it should be stopped. And the reason why I believe it should be stopped is football clubs, the big football clubs, lower down the leagues, I haven't got a problem with that. And loaning kids out, not a problem at all. Where I'm looking at is, at the top level, you look at the elite clubs, they stockpile players. And then, like with Chelsea last season, I think they loaned about 4 different teams out, didn't they? Now, if they wasn't allowed to stockpile the players and then loan those players out, teams like Sheffield Wednesday, like Birmingham, like Bury, like Bolton could identify these players, recruit these players, bring them players on, and then when them players are sold, like you, I seen that post from you earlier today, from Doncaster to Nottingham Forest, Doncaster receive a transfer fee, and that money gets pumped back into the football club. That seems to have been almost eroded with the way that professional football is set up these days, and it's wrong.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. There's 2 parts to that. There's 2 parts to that. I mean, clubs have these big clubs now have got far too many players at their clubs. I mean, like you say, the Champions League now, there's 20 odd games in them. So they're wanting bigger squads. So when Liverpool won and Forest won it, it was just like a knockout competition. It's like a mini league. So what's happened now? Clubs have got far too many players at the club. And now it becomes a big headache because of having to pick these type of players, and that's why you see these cups have become it's not competition. There's no competition in it. We're not really bothered about winning. We want to stay in the Premier League. So the big clubs have got far too many players. So the other clubs are not getting those players, right? They're not getting them because they all want to be at Man United. They want to be at Everton. They've all got 30, 40 players. It never used to be like that. So there were plenty of good players in and around other teams. Now, when you come to the bottom two leagues now in our country, Championship 1 and Championship 2, where are you seeing players being sold now to over these last years? To an Everton, Kevin Keegan up to a Liverpool, Ray Clemens. You know why? Because the coach, regardless of what anybody says, whether they like it or not, I'm going to ram it down their throats until they get sick of listening to it. The coaching's been that poor, it's untrue. So clubs are not going to loan players out to a team what just boots the ball upfield. The coaching is that being poor. Is that poor that if you go and watch the lower championship teams, you wouldn't buy some of them players because of football. When you look at it, you think, can he play or not? I know it's hard for him, right? But when I was at Doncaster, I was sold to Notts Forest for £70,000. Mickey Elvis was sold to Preston for £60,000. Brendan O'Callaghan went to Stoke. I can't remember what Brendan went for, and Pete Kitchen. I can't remember which team Pete Kitchen went for. Who had a great career, Pete, because he was a great player. Well, little Pete Kitchen played at Cardiff, Fulham, Orient, and was a good little football. But they were players what came through Doncaster's system and what helped to keep the club going. Now, for years now, we don't see that. What we see is clubs will go into academies and get the best academy player out. But you're not seeing it coming through. I mean, Vardy was an exceptional one. What's come through, but you're not seeing it. We used to see it all the time now. In those days, you're not seeing it now because what we've got to do is to improve our coaching and sign better players when they're kids, instead of just signing big lads what are strong, because they bypass these other technical players, whether they're tall or small or whatever. They bypass them because they're not strong enough. And then them players get lost at system because they think, well, nobody wants me. I hate that football club. I hate that team. And then they walk away from it. I don't blame the foreign coaches. I don't blame the foreign managers. They produce season in, season out. And we spend millions of pounds on foreign players coming into this country. And there's only one reason for it. Because what anybody thinks or what anybody says, choose how much they want to shout me down, I know I'm right on this. Because if our coaching and our players will produce at that lower level better, that money from the Premier League will be going down to those clubs to buy some of those players. And it's not happening. And it's that what's looking at right more than anything else.
But in terms of that, a lot of those younger players that were developed at 13 or 14, probably 15, at Donny, at other clubs like Crewe, whoever, Liverpool look at them young kids and then buy them young kids at the age of 13, 14, 15. So they're not coming through. So the quality of them football clubs at the lower levels is going to be diminished because they're better players than the ones that could play football. They're taken by the big clubs and then they're loaned back to these other clubs and they're having to pay probably 2 or 3 times as much because they're on ridiculous wages at the big clubs. So it's a catch-22 situation, and it's just, I just look at it and I think, no wonder all you lot are going broke the way the game's set up.
You're right, part of it, right? Because they'll go and take what they think is the best player. But there's plenty of times, Gabby, when they they've taken, they think it's the best player. Sometimes, a lot of times, really drop out.
Oh yeah.
And the other ones what come through into the team look good players.
Yeah.
But because of our coaching, and it's got that poor, it's been unreal. I mean, there were a couple of kids I can't remember the names now. What Leeds United had sold to Chelsea for about 2-3 million quid.
Yeah.
And because these were the next things in sliced bread.
Yeah.
They're not in the game.
Yeah.
They're not in the game. I mean, I think Jock could have gone into a Sheffield Wednesday without any doubt whatsoever. I put him in a Doncaster and a Grimsby to open that he'd get into first team early, right? He's got the technical ability. He needs to fill out, and proper football people will understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
Gabby, when I say this, he needs to fill out. Yes, he will fill out, but he's one of them players. What might be 21 before he fills out.
Yep.
Right now, when you're growing, some players will grow and they'll fill out. They grow, they fill out. Right? Jock's one of them. What grows starts to fill out, and he grows again, and he's so he's not filling out. You can see he's still a bag of bones.
Yeah.
So what we've done in this country with the coaching, like I said, because all they work on at the lower level, it's even worse at the lower level, because what they're working on is for them to be successful so they can get another job.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at to say, right, for me to get a top job, I need to improve these football players. I need to improve this team.
Yeah. We
might be able to sell a player to a Sheffield Wednesday or a Birmingham City or even a Liverpool.
Yeah.
Hull's done it. Hull's done it to with Robinson to Liverpool.
Yeah.
The full-back, he came down to Scotland, and they plucked him off out of Hull City. We know he's come from Scotland, but they've looked at it. The kid can play. So if you can coach these young kids at this bottom level and get them into your team, you've got a chance of selling them and getting good money. But you're right. What you're saying is they're pinching them out of the academies, right? They've already got, I've done umpteen players, because like Chelsea last year, 40 players on loan. And people say, well, I'm going to bet it. How can they be successful this year? They can't be able to buy anybody. Well, if they've got all these players what's got on loan, they've got all the experience now to be able to play for Chelsea. And you've got to give them a bit of a chance. There's a lot, the questions need to be asked, Gabby, by the right people. And and it needs to be sorted out. We need to get to the root of it, because part of it is what I'm saying is part of it is true. And until we start producing quality players, and they keep saying, well, we keep buying them. Well, they're buying them abroad. They're teaching them quality. They're getting it to their first teams early. So why aren't they doing it here?
Wholeheartedly agree.
You can turn around and say that they haven't got the experience, but they haven't got the experience on the continent, but they go in because they're not frightened to play them. They're not frightened to play them because they're good on the ball. What we do, it's like put it into Bo's head. We don't want to, we don't want to tippy tappy in the rounders box. We're frightened because if we lose, if we concede a goal, they've relied on a certain player, and it's killed our game off, killed it off, and all this money what's come into it. And these smaller clubs are not getting any of it because the money's been spent abroad.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally, it's another weekend of our football predictions. Birmingham and Stoke. Cardiff is the live game on Friday against Fulham, which is my team to win the championship. Palace, Villa travel to Palace. Leeds, your tip, and Jock's tip to win the championship, playing Swansea. Wednesday have got Queen's Park Rangers, and Everton have got Wolves. What's the standout fixture in our Super Six that you look at this week? And I'll post it up later tonight or tomorrow, and we'll both have our go and see if I can level it 2-2, or you go 3-1 up.
Well, you've got to look at Swansea and Leeds. That looks a good match on paper. Top two. But obviously, I'll always look at my own team, Sheffield Wednesday, as the most important fixture for the weekend. So I'm going for a Sheffield Wednesday win.
Yep.
I'm going for a Leeds win. I'm going for an Everton win. Cardiff to beat Fulham. And who's the other one, Gabby?
We got Birmingham versus Stoke. And
Birmingham to beat Stoke. Them's mine.
And then Palace and Villa.
I'm going for a Villa win.
Okay.
I'm going for a Villa win. I think Palace will struggle this year.
Yeah.
I know they got a result at Man United last week, but regardless what anybody says, Man United ought to have been 4 up. In 15, 20 minutes should have been 4 up.
Mm-hmm. and got knocked out the League Cup by making again wholesale changes. And I listened to Roy on TalkSport today, and blimey, he didn't fill me with much. that bloke bores the pants off me, I've got to say. So what he does in the dressing room before them Palace lads go out, and I would agree with you. I'd fancy Villa to
Can you imagine in a dressing room when he comes and gives a team talk?
Yeah, I know. I'd be falling asleep.
Especially with big players like Zaha.
Yeah.
You know, they must think. I mean, you hear players when they're not playing now and they're on these YouTubes and these podcasts, and you hear them talk about money. I mean, I've always known that because I know what players are like.
Yeah.
You know, they're so nice to these managers' face, but they're really taking the piss behind the backs. You know, they think, you know, how's he got a job? His coach is poor. You know, so it's little things like that.
Yeah.
So when things are not going right, you can see why it gets deeper and deeper, and because players will talk to each other and say, well, he's not good enough to be managing this football club, and that's what happened.
It certainly does. Well, let's hope that we're both singing the blues this weekend, mate, with home wins for both City and Wednesday. But we will reconvene this time next week, or it'll be Tuesday night going into Wednesday, as per usual.
Brilliant. And I hope we have a good weekend all around both our teams.
Yeah,
and you and your family have a fantastic weekend. And I hope we both singing the blues come Tuesday night.
Likewise, Tal. And let's hope that whoever you are, wherever you're playing, you get on a football pitch and you try and entertain the crowd and give us a magic moment to talk about next week.
And to all fans, yes, I want your team to win. I understand you all that. But enjoy. If your team get beaten, the opposition being a better football team, you can be disappointed with your own team, but enjoy the football because you paid a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
So go and enjoy the game.
Yeah. Till next week. Cheers, Tal.
Cheers, Gabby. Bye. Good night.
Bye. SRB Media.